live, and we're going to get into this morning's live. We have, I guess I should describe what's going to happen here this morning. So we have a lot of stuff to go over on the charts. The bottom line is I get a lot of questions. Is it time to buy? Is it the bottom? Is this the day? Yada, yada, yada. And we'll go over it. But first, let me describe my morning so far so that you understand when I come in firing and blazing, you'll understand why. It's not just me coming in unhinged today. But I will say my fuse is very small. So you might get very spicy Tom. And, if it keeps some people away today, by God, if I have to offend a few because of the circumstance today, well, so freaking be it. Sometimes you can't be on your best behavior. And sometimes it's just going to come out spicy. So, some people might take offense to it today. The world's full of one big offense, right? So, I'm offended by the world. How about that? So we can start out by saying we're all offended. So what happened this morning is my son, special needs, nonverbal, autistic, get to school, and he normally has the person, his para person who goes in. Well, they switched it up. It's been a little bit different. And today he's a little upset to go to school, and he didn't really want to walk up to the door when it was time to go in. And guess what? Nobody came out for him. So someone's supposed to be there. So his teacher is like, what's going on? Like, where is everybody? I don't know. I'm pissed. So I lit the school up today. Before we did this live, I lit them up. The special needs department, to the point where they have to figure this out, and they're going to call me back today before school's out, because I told them if this ever happens again, he's coming home with me, and this is going to be a very big problem. So I'm not in a good mood. Am I doing the live? Yes, I am. As sure as I'm sitting in front of you, we're at least doing the live. But as a father, I am not in a good mood. I just lit the school up, and they heard me very clearly, to the point where I'm not yelling. I almost am crying that I'm so pissed off. So that's a fair warning. So you might hear some stuff you don't want to hear today. It might be a little more truthful today that you might not want to hear today. So if you don't want to, you might want to skedaddle and go away for one day. So it's going to be very real today. That's what I can say. So if somebody pisses me off in the comments, I may not respond to you, but I'll give you a backhand to go fuck yourself. Good morning. 9:40 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Wednesday, November 19th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So, as we can see for XRP, I've gotten a lot of questions. Couple things I'm doing different. Yes, on TOOBIT, still in the copy trade, but I'm expanding on it. I don't care if people want to be in or not. If I'm on TOOBIT, I'm just going to show it so everybody can see it. So right now, Epic is not bought in, but I plan on at some point here just letting it go so everybody can see the positioning. And I got to find the exact spot in the 4-hourly. I was in it a little bit yesterday, and then I decided I'm going to do it that way. So Epic, I'm going to buy through the copy trade too. So if you're part of that, you'll at least be able to see what I own on TOOBIT. If you want to be a part of it, there's a link in the video description below that you can sign up for TOOBIT. And then on the copy trade, you have to go XRP Future Millionaire, but don't just hit the subscribe button. There's 26 people subscribing, unless you just want to watch it. I changed my tune. If you just want to watch it, that's fine. You can watch it, but if you want to be a part of it, you have to take the next step and also hit follow. Only 11 people hit follow, 26 people are subscribed. So if that's you and you want to be a part of it, so be it. So that's what I'm going to do. Anything I buy on TOOBIT, as long as it's copy tradable, it's just going to be through the copy trade so everybody can see as it progresses. So there's that. So that's something we'll talk about. And if as far as it comes to Epic, the best I can see is if we're in some kind of, I guess you could call this maybe a broadening wedge, a falling wedge, maybe. So if we're looking at that, I mean, the next area of opportunity then would be around 47 cents. We've got Proton that I've been lacking on of talking about, but we are below a very critical resistance. So that could pull us much farther down. And just like yesterday, we talked about the pedestrian volume bounce, which is fine. It's not the end all be all, but that was something that made me think maybe we could come sub $2 yet. But I still have the overwhelming question that I'm going to ask everybody before we start. And then we can, talk amongst ourselves. You can share it with me or you can share your own opinion. Do we think that Bitcoin, not saying it can't make a new low, but do we think that it's going to go to 100K, retest that rising wedge breakdown before we ultimately break down? Because I will tell you, a lot of these micro numbers are telling us that maybe, just maybe, even if we do have to come down for XRP, because the 4-hourly is telling us like we should have to come down more. If we have to come down into this $1.95, $1.90, so what? I hear so many people whining. Get over it. How can you be a trader if you're just going to bitch and moan the whole freaking time? It drives me nuts. Okay? Just acknowledge the fact that it goes up and down, and you have to catch it at the right support or resistance. You have to sell at the right time. Like, don't feel so sorry for yourself. You're never going to be able to trade. If you feel sorry for yourself on every small move, if you can't handle a fractional move, you're in the wrong space. This is not a safe asset. It's a risk asset. Do you know what that means? Risk. It's risky. It means more times than not, you're going to get fucked in the ass. Oh, I'm sorry. You're going to lose. Basically, you're going to get bent over, deep pants, and then you're not even going to be left with your belt. It's going to get so bad. That's what a risk is. If you want risk off, go get a freaking, you got to go invest in like a safer, because most people won't buy gold and silver. You have to go buy a useless, what's the best thing? Because they don't pay you shit in a bond now. But you'd have to go safe. You'd have to get a CD or something. So that's something you would have to do. Otherwise, there's no safe money or no safe investment in risk assets. It's the opposite. It's called risk asset for a reason. Because more times than not, you're going to lose money. If you want something safer that goes with the actual flow of inflation, invest in silver right now. Invest in gold. I know it's a little overvalued right now compared to where it was a year ago, but that's not changing. The price of gold and silver doesn't actually change. Just the devaluing of your dollar. That's it. That's it. So yeah. So that's something that we have to deal with. But you don't have to be afraid. Like, that's the thing. Like, so everybody's so scared. Why are we so afraid? Everybody's just so afraid. It's like when it was way overvalued, everybody's so content that they're going to make a bunch of money. But when it goes down and we're starting to get into the now we just need to catch up. When you look through the time frame, we just need to catch up. Let it happen. Let it happen. It's not a bad thing. Let it happen. Okay, so what? XRP comes down a friggin' another 7.7%. Is that really the end of the world? Look where it's come down from. Nobody cared when it was at the top. At $3.70, they wanted to buy with no understanding that we're at 97 on the Fear and Greed Index. That's not bad. A clear double top. Now it's down 42.4%. Still nobody cares, but now when it goes down that last 7%, all of a sudden, and cumulatively that's like 46% from the top. But that last 7% in real time is where nobody's going to buy. And then if it breaks that, God forbid anybody pays attention anymore. But at some point, we have to have, I'm telling you right now, it can either be now, it can be in a couple of days, it can be in a month from now, it can be after we take another step. I don't know. But I'm telling you right now, this has to come back up before we have the overall breakdown out of the rising wedge. Everybody's like, well, how do you know it's a rising wedge? Who's the one person who called it when we were still at 125? And didn't have to wait until it came down here and showed you a rising wedge. I predicted the short-term rising wedge by doing it in a small time frame, and then we said, what if it does this? Well, the what if happened, and we had already planned for the what if because we knew about it before it came down there. So now that it did this, now, if I'm telling you that it had to do this, now, why wouldn't you believe me when I say it has to retest that rising wedge to see if it's in fact bearish? Well, more evidence that would describe that would be the 20-day 20 cross 50, 100, 200 being a death cross. Now the 50 confirms the death cross through the 200. Now all we need is confirmation. Well, while that confirmation's happening, how spectacularly, unbelievably stupendous would it be that everybody says, oh, the death cross is happening. It's bearish, sell out. And it's a lagging indicator. So now when everybody's selling out, now it comes back up here and retests the 100K. That is what I believe is going to happen. I don't just believe it, I plan on it. And I even made a interesting move. Like I said with XDC, I ended up putting more into XDC at 4.9, not because I think it's going to overall play this 100% guaranteed. I just think Bitcoin's got to retest that area. So instead of putting in XLM, I just added more money into XDC. So I don't even know how many tokens of XDC I have. I didn't actually look. I think it's getting close to 300,000. But I have a very defined expectation right now. And if it goes, I'm not afraid. So what? It breaks 4.7 and I got to sell and it goes down to 2.8 and I get to pick up 500,000 tokens with the same money. That's where and if we're in a bear market, I bring on the bear market. You know why? Because every time it breaks a big structural support, and we know it's got no choice but to reset, we just sell and buy it back. This is literally my favorite time. Did I resell IOTA today? No. Why would I? I got to buy it when it had the drop after. Now, if it re-breaks that and we prove we got to go lower by another 20, maybe I will. Did I resell? I'll go, no, why would I resell it? I just bought it back when it hit that bottom on the flush a day and a half ago. Now it's got to prove to me that we're going to break down. Like, why would I? No, that's the bottom line. No. The only thing that I don't have right now that I should is Epic because I want everybody to hang with me, basically. So if you want to ride with me, you ride with me. If you don't, good. But you can act like you do. Because a lot of people act like they want to be part of it, but then when they see a small loss or they don't understand the agenda or the game I play, and then in the end, when they see how it turns out, they're like, well, we were losing, and now all of a sudden, and you weren't losing. It's a screen. See, when you have money on a screen on crypto, it's not yours. It's not even money. It's a figment of your imagination. It's just it's gambling. You see it on the screen, so now you got $20,000, right? Or you got $2,000. I don't know where your portfolio is at. You got $2 million maybe. Well, sometimes when you're buying the accumulation phase, you have to sell at certain times because it's not part of the long-standing run. If you want to add tokens, because let's face it, if this breaks down and 4.7's broken, that's not a small hop, skip, and a jump. I got no problem holding 280,000 tokens, but if it breaks 4.7, I'm not riding it down 40% potential. So I would just have to say, I love you. I believe in you. I want you to prosper. I really do love you, XDC, but I gave you a timeline. Now, if it comes down here, I can hold it a little bit longer. Maybe it allows me to hold it to 4.3. But I love you to death, but you look like shit. And I'm not going to support your bad habit of going down, but I will buy you when you look like you're on the uptick again. So I'm sorry, but I got to cut you free, and then I'll buy you down here. So then if you have the same amount, instead of having 280, if it comes down there, I'm going to have over 500,000. My money's going to be down. My money's going to be down in the portfolio, but when it comes back up to where we think it's going to go, I'm going to have well beyond what we had. Same philosophy we used. Why did I sell my XRP in the bull run of 21? Because I wanted to get all my money. I wanted to put it into gold and silver. I wanted to keep enough to buy back 10,000 plus. And then I wanted to do it when it came back to the uptrend. I didn't want to sit there and lose all the money. Yes, I would have more now than I did then. But now I have way more than I did then because I actually knew to sell out and then the buyback. So it's a whole big game. I don't let my emotion do anything when it comes to crypto. In fact, when I feel like this, I don't even care anymore about crypto. So then it's like if it tells me to sell, I sell. If it tells me to buy, I buy. If people get mad, too bad. Because after all, I'm just telling you what I'm doing, and I'm not a financial advisor. And isn't this just my historical data anyhow that people just tagged along? I couldn't have known 47th. Hey, we went over 300. 47,300 would follow me. You know? So I couldn't have known that. Now, I did make a weird prediction in my first video that I said 1 year from the time this video comes out, I'll have 10,000 subscribers. And I didn't know why. And you know what? 1 year from when that video came out, I had 9,999 subscribers. That's the man upstairs playing a joke on me and says, nobody knows precisely what's going to happen but me, sir. So you're going to miss it by one and you're going to like it. And that was the lesson. Like even it was a good prediction, but I was off by one. The Lord very easily could have made me perfect on that prediction. But that's a way of humbling. Just like right now. We're being humbled right now on emotion. Look at the charts. If I told you that Bitcoin was at 91,500 and that the daily was the most oversold and the weekly was the most oversold since way back at the double bottom back earlier in the year, you'd say, holy crap, we're on the right directive. Like, why would anybody not be buying right here? Look where Bitcoin's at. Seriously. This is phenomenal. Bitcoin's at, I'm serious, this is in the weekly. We're at 0.03. Is that right? 0.03. Hey guys, we're so oversold, we're almost at zero. Ah, this is a pile of shit. I'm done. I can't buy now. Then I look at the monthly and I go, remember when we were way oversold in the monthly? We actually broke through the neutral level. So if we make this unbelievably great move back down, which I don't even know if we have the velocity to do it anymore, because we have over 1.3 billion, I think, as it stands at 100K, and it's growing by the minute. Growing by the minute. If the weekly wants to pull down, I could see us come. If we come all the way down there, it's a problem. Because I don't know if we have the testicular fortitude to get down there where we're at right now with the technicals. Do I know we have to go down if we break the broadening? Absolutely. But this to me is the perfect time. You know what? You guys can ride or die with me today. Let's see. Because I'm gonna put a parameter out here. I'm gonna do epic. And then I'm gonna say I'm gonna hold it. We're gonna hold it unless it breaks 47 cents. Just to see where we're at as a community. Like I said, this right now is not a zero-sum game. It's not just, it's the numbers on the screen. No, it's about positioning. Isn't it about how much you hold when the movement happens? This is another game that everybody plays, and it's hysterical in crypto. My average, I bought in at this price, so I can't sell to buy in after a big correction because my average is going to go up. No, your positioning goes up and you just made a shitload of money. Like you can keep, you know how I pay myself most of the time? It's not getting rid of my position because I'll buy it back. It's about being able to get out before it drops like that, and then you're up a couple $1,000s, and instead of buying more, maybe you need to pay yourself, but now you have the exact same position. Sure, your number says a little different because you had to sell and rebuy when it went cheaper, and you bought it long ago, so you had it way cheaper. That's market. Do you think do you guys really think the bigwigs care what it says? No. It's not. It's not. That's the biggest scam I've ever seen. I got to hold my position so I can say I have a lower average. Who gives a fuck? Honestly, you haven't took profit in 5 years, and it shows. Congratulations having 17-cent XRP, but all that tells me is you sat through 2 bull markets and didn't capitalize on 4 to 10x. No. You don't want that. But no, I'm not just going to buy in out of emotion and be like, you're riding it with me to the bottom. No. I'm looking at something here. Because I feel like from a psychological standpoint, nobody thinks today's a good day to buy. And it might not be yet. But at some point, we're getting to a point where there's no more velocity. Don't you understand? I feel like the guy from Office Space when he's always like, don't you understand what I do? I take the paper and I take it to the customer and yada yada. And then he gets into the whole discussion. And then when they're like, well, what do you really do? It's like, well, do you actually walk it over there? Well, I have an assistant who actually takes the paper from me to bring it. That's what I think of the indicators. Do you actually know technicals? Well, it told me that there's an FVG here. Or, well, the Fibonacci says it should do. No, I'm asking you, do you know outside of the actual robot telling you? So, that's, I told you, sometimes it's good when I'm honest, because it's, that's how it goes. But anyhow, but it helps you define things too. Like, don't be so afraid. Everybody's so afraid to do things with the portfolio. Sometimes you have to. Like, we've looked at XRP in 2 ways. One, we know we have the support like we showed in the other charts, but this was this was an area of concern. Like if we could have held something like this, maybe we could have stayed over the top. But being below this area, to me, that's what speaks to the downturn to $1.98 if we stay below it. But we've had a nice healthy wick pullback from 209 to 211. Let's see if it continues. The 2-hourly could be reversing. It's possible. But with how we're pushing down, we've got to show some kind of reversal trend in the 4-hourly. Now, the 4-hourly speaks to me like it's one of two things. One, we're going to continue down this, or two, we made a V shape down here in the stochastic, which is awful looking now. We came down here at a double, like bottom after breaking out to top. And now if we hold here, but if it doesn't, I mean, I still see $1.98 if this continues to trend down. But I do see this optic here that we could just reverse right now. I really feel that way. Something tells me that from a liquidity standpoint, Bitcoin's drying up right here. I think the alts are starting to speak of it too, why they won't breach certain levels. And yeah, it overshot a little bit here, but that almost looks like a liquidity grab. Like it came back down to 89,975 while everybody was sleeping, really. Or getting close to going to bed, right around midnight where I live. 89,240 was the low. I mean, that holds it perfectly in proportion. When you start looking at the daily candle, that's a nice wick pull down. But in reality today, if don't the minutes come out today? Do the minutes? I think the minutes come out today. Oh, Mrs. Stott, thank you for being in town for 3+ months with the XRP Meteor. And yeah, I understand exactly where you're at right now. That was me for so long. Julie, I love you too. I seen her comment. I love you. Can you what? Yeah. But you need to put the card on. Oh. You need to fill it out when you do it. You have the card. You can do 5 if you want. I don't care. Hi Anna. Hope my son is doing good today. Well, he's doing good. The school didn't do good because he's supposed to have a para that comes out and they were switching things on him. And first let me do this with Epic because it's just something I want to do. Now, should I pull everybody in or should I? No, I won't do that. Maybe I'll do that later. I don't want to screw everybody's stuff up. I'll just have it myself for now, and then we can discuss that later. How about that? I won't make everybody fall with me. No, I changed my mind. I won't make everybody do that with me, but I do want to have mine. So I'm gonna just we won't make an emotional decision, and we'll just do what we got to do. Although some people probably would have wanted to. All right, there we go. All right. Now everything's back to whole. But yeah, that's something that I am seeing this morning. Oh, Julie wanted to give subs. Look at that. Julie, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 years with the XRP Diamond Hands badge. Also my significant other, and she gifted 5 subs. How nice was that? Zachary Clark, LDC Hawaii, Tracy Trotter, Vlad. Congratulations on the 5 of you getting gifted subs. I love it. Mrs. Stott, I mean, these are the times right now, and I know it's scary, everybody, but these are legitimately the times where we can have that sneaky 10-15% reversal on alts. I'm not even joking. Like, these are the times where this can happen. And I know it's scary. Believe me, I do. And it's hard to make a decision. Because if we do break down, we do know we go to that $1.99-ish. Right? We all know this. I don't think it's a secret. And it's scary. I get it. But at certain points with the market, you need to look for liquidity style things. And yeah, the heat map will show you some things, but it's more of a feel about what you see in the market. For me, I feel like we're at a point right now where we have to have a crescendo break. Otherwise, there's no more liquidity when they actually hunt the bottom. They need liquidity at the bottom. Like, make no mistake about it. They're not just going down there for no reason. So I I feel, I don't know if it's right now, but it's as good as time as any when everybody's very bearish to come up to that 264. It's as good a time as any for Bitcoin to come up to that 100K. It's as good of time as any to have a reversal when everybody's thinking we're very bearish. That's what I will say about the situation. That's what I feel can happen. Am I always right? No, no, no. It's quite the opposite. I'm a humble person. I'm not always right. In fact, I'm wrong a lot. But I'm always very consistent in my approach. So when things are happening, I'm pretty good at seeing them in real time when opportunity develops. And if I was doing this, I would say, man, there's a lot of people that are short in the market right now. This would be a great time to come retest the low at 209. Perfect retest, actually, because it made a new low from here. That's so perfect. I can't even describe it. Our first area is going to be around here. It did this artificial push up, which means now let's see, what will we do? Would we back test 213 or just keep going? This very well could just pop up here. But that's in real time. This is in real time. But I think it's setting up something. Like, I think it's setting up something. Now, is it dangerous? Oh yeah. Spicey market. This is not a market for the faint of heart. And now, right now, if it breaks 209, could be a problem. But this is where we've got that momentary moment in time where something can happen. Joseph Euler, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XB Predictor. And thanks for gifting a sub as well. Gifted it and said, Ricky Ricardo, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over for your first month now with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. And thank you so much, Joseph Euler, not only being in Tom's Army for 6+ months with the XP Predictor, but also gifting a sub to a fellow community member. That's very, very generous. Very, very generous. So what we're talking about here with Bitcoin is it's a choice here for Bitcoin. It's a choice. It's a very big choice. Because this could be an inverse pattern that's set up here. And it's nice that we had here, left shoulder, could have come down to a right. This could be a very strategic, very weird looking inverse pattern that is trying to set up here. It really could. This could have been our validation. We could have started a new uptrend, which means we have a little bit more to go on here. Let's put this out here. I know this is the futures, but so we'll see if it's either that or if we actually started something that can push us out of here, but we won't know this yet. We'll only know if it starts to ride something like this. And then if it does, we're starting a little bit of expansion here. Because look, the bottom line is we did not come down and create a new bottom. We allowed ourselves a lot of flexibility in here as well. And this is where if I was just saying, this is where I could see them flipping the market here a little bit and having a little bit of a rally. If not, then we know where we go down to. But this is basically the shot of the market here to kind of catch some in that fear moment. But if it reverses here and goes down and we lose this uptrend, well, then you start looking at 90,480. This could have been some validation here in the 45, but it's so hard to tell right now. Everything is so volatile. We've got the minutes out today, so I expect extreme volatility. That's the future. So let's get back into, let's see what the dominance looks like. We finally came down into this area. It took a while. Remember, we took the up first and then down, but it finally came into my projected area. So this is also got a rejection here and coming down. This is where alt should start to move a little bit. But it came exactly where we talked about for that first step. But you got to get past there. That's a dangerous level because sometimes it gets stuck there, as we've seen before. And then if it can break down from there, well, then we start talking about coming back down to the 54.75. That's when it'll get real dicey when it gets down here. Honestly, because then after that, you come down to 45. So we're in a very critical time. We got rejected at the 62.7. It overshot it a little bit too. And now we've come down into the first zone of breakdown. And it looks good right now. Now it's looking good. I know it's oversold in the daily, but that could just speak to the fact that Bitcoin might want to have a little bit of a rally. Weekly's breaking down. So if you ask me, what does this mean? Well, if Bitcoin has a rally, it suggests to me that alts are going to move faster. Like maybe alts are already... There's the potential here that alts are already reversing. And yeah, we're looking at Bitcoin, but Bitcoin might go up, but alts might go up 2 to 3 times faster. That's why I could see a 15 to 20% move on alts if Bitcoin has to go up 7 or 8%. I really could. It would be a sneaky time to do this right now, and it would be the right time. This would be the right time for the market makers to completely flip everybody's narrative, in my opinion. I could be completely wrong with what I'm saying, but I'm not invested the way I am for no reason. I think something's happening underneath everybody's nose. They validated it with the support drop this morning. I want to see how many XDC I have. I meant to tell everybody. I said I would, and I forgot. Oh, it's Winning Wednesdays. Winning Wednesdays. I have 280,573 XDC. Who wants to do Winning Wednesdays? Let's do Winning Wednesdays. Let's see. Do you think XRP is backtesting a handle on a cup and handle on the week? It's possible. It's possible we're playing out of this right now. It's not just possible, it's probable that this could be what's happening. So I'm going to buy a little bit more XDC here. I know it's up a little bit, but it's Winning Wednesdays. So let me know if you're part of Winning Wednesdays. You said government wrong, aka sneaky. Yep. I agree. So let's buy a couple thousand more XDC here. I know I got a shitload of them already, but this is going to continue, like I said, for better or for worse. And then if it breaks down certain areas, you know, my philosophy, I'm not afraid to sell it and rebuy it back. And on Kraken, the beauty of it is if you're doing Kraken Pro, the fees are basically minimal. It's minimal. Small. Like exorbitantly small. So I'm going to buy another probably 2,000-3,000 more XDC, or it'll probably cost me $100-$150 today. And the fee right now to get 2,012 XDC more, just over 2,000 is 11 cents is the fee for this buy, FYI. So now I have it just executed. Now I have 282,564 XDC. So I picked out just about 2,100 more XDC. Winning Wednesdays continues. Last time I did this, I was doing this with HBAR at 4.2 and 5.2 cents in between those zones. And then we wrote it all the way up to, well, you remember. And we did it with a bunch of others. But when we did it with XDC, it was at 5.2 and 4.2. And then it ended up after we did it in 20, was it 3 or 24? No, we did it in 23 the first time. Wrote it up to here. Then we got to redo it at the bottom. And then we sat on it for a while because it took a while for it to go. Then we got to ride this big wave. Some bought it back, some didn't. And we just rinse and repeat. And right now, I still say that this market is strangely setting up for a chaotic move. I don't know if it's going to happen. Like, that's the thing. Who knows if it's going to happen? But it feels like to me, if I was a market maker and trading on the algorithms, there's so much topside liquidity now that you might not even be able to see on a heat map necessarily. But I know for short traders, what's this at? I didn't refresh it. Still at 15. That's bizarre. That's bizarre. Because when people had the opportunity not to buy, it went from 10 to 14 or 15. And then it went back down when people should have bought to 11. Now when people really should be buying, it's only at 15. That's crazy. People are way more interested last week. These are all good signs. Like, to me, these are good signs. And, I've seen an increase on my video viewing. Well, until this morning, but um, I've seen more people watching my videos. Like some videos are getting 3,000 and 4,000 views now, which is nice. The live, some of them are getting 2,000. They used to only get 1,000. And I've noticed in the bearish moments, we still have over 100 people watching this. This is interesting. Tango, we don't necessarily need to see it in single digits. We want to see a collective effort, the way it's moving. We want to see on days it should be moving down. People are going and have, more greed than they should have in fear. And then when they should be more fearful or more greedy, the fear takes over. Like it's happening right now. On days when there should be more greed, it's actually fearful. And on days when there should be more fear, it's actually greed. And I know that because on the days I'm not buying, people are buying. And on the days I am buying, people are afraid. Like today, I'm looking at it going, you know what? I know everybody's afraid, but this ain't the time to be necessarily afraid. This is the time when most people would just sell out because they think it's going down. And this is what I used to say. They're willing to sell out in the red in fears that it's going to go down even farther, but they won't buy back when it's way down here, even though they bought 40% higher. This is that strange, we're getting to that strange moment. The other thing is once it pumps, and let's say Bitcoin pumps back to 100K, 99,900 to retest the rising wedge breakdown, we're going to be looking to sell everything on that rejection, and everybody's going to be buying there, and then they're going to say, God darn it, Tom, I always lose money. I'm going to say, no, it's not. You're losing money because you're misunderstanding the market. Right now, we're bearish. Just because I bought back into stuff doesn't mean I'm looking for the 100% long-term till the end hold unless it proves it. What I am trying to buy and find the spot for that retest of the rising wedge at 99,900 and some change that I know has to happen in my heart. It doesn't matter what kind of volatility of the market. Who knows? Maybe we run down farther. That's why I keep saying maybe we go down farther first. But I still know that we have to, before we have this all of a sudden out the bottom floor drop out, it still needs to come up here. We still need to have this. We do. We need to have that retest up here at 99,000, and in real time, it's around 979. And we need to retest that. And what better way than to retest this FVG down here, fill it out, scare everybody, drop it back down again today, close to the bottom of there. And now all of a sudden, when everybody's panicking, because they went into work, right? And think about it. When they want this to happen, they wait for people. So people are taking their shower. They buy when they wake up because they see some movement. Then all of a sudden they go to take their shower. They get to work. It's 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. What happened by 9:30? Everything dropped down to its lows. So they're drinking their coffee going, oh my God, everything I thought I bought earlier that was a good deal, now it's all down. And then they're panic selling. By the time they drink their coffee, sit back down at their computer desk, take a piss, go get yelled at by the boss, whatever the case may be, or you're the boss and you're doing some yelling, getting people in order in the morning. Now all of a sudden the price recovered. So now this is the point. Yes, XRP's down 3.4% today. Yes, it's at $2.14, and yesterday was at $2.22. But what I was saying was, look at like you go in for the coffee. It's at $2.14, $2.13, right? You see this consolidation. Maybe you think it's a good buy. You go get your coffee, and now you're looking at it at $2.09, go, oh my God, I'm not losing all this morning. I'm out. You go sit down 45 minutes later, and you're like, wait a minute. Now it's at $2.14. I just sold out because I thought it was going to break down today, and we're going to $1.99, right? So now it has this quick, and it's not even a lot, but it's enough for the psychological level. Better yet, this is what I think happened. I think last night nobody was buying down here. They seen a quick run up to 223 and they panic bought at 222-ish. Then they seen it come down 5.5% this morning and sold. Now all of a sudden it's back up, and they'll probably see it retest where they sold it. If I had to guess, that's probably what happened. Because that's generally, it's just retail, guys. I'm retail, but we don't, just because we're retail, it doesn't mean we have to do what retail does. Just because 100 people do one thing doesn't mean we have to. No, we could be that 1 out of 100 that goes left. That's me. Remember in 21 when I was like, hey guys, over here, we're fucked. So, go liquid. I called for that twice now in the last 9 months. Now I'm telling you quite the opposite. Hey guys, there's not a lot of liquidity down below right now. There's a lot over the top. This would be the exact time for the market to bend us over again when we're waiting for a lower price and come back and retest the higher levels. And no, I'm not a magician. No, I'm not from the future. No, I don't pull the strings. No, I'm not the market maker. But I try to think like the market maker, just like I try to think what the government would do. What's the easiest way? And for the people, the easiest way would be to divide us so we don't actually ask the right questions. Oh, that damn Democrat, it's his fault. But then if the Democrat does it, oh, I love this guy. And the Republican says, that damn Democrat. But then if the Republican guy does the exact same thing, I love this guy. Keep the people stupid, bickering. Just like in crypto, keep them running back and forth, left and right, except to the right way. Because it only takes one time to do it wrong, and then you're screwed. And the volatility today is going to be wild. It's going to be wild. And think about it. What if it doesn't go our way right away? And it goes down to $1.99. And we still know the same things apply. We still know that we have to come back up to that rising wedge. So maybe we're just early. Or maybe it needed to go down a little bit farther. And then, then you have to look at it like that. But right now, it's trying to make a case for a reversal in some of these time frames. We're trying. It hasn't happened yet. The first big area to pass would be to get back over 217 now and just stay over that, come back up to that 222 area, and then open it up. Then it could open it up. It's beautiful right now that we're over this trend. Like I said, 209, but really anything under this 212 line is not a good sign if it stays below. This is fine. It had a wick, back up. Wick, back up. Wick, back up. Hit the wick. Wick, back up. Wick, back up. So right now it's showing you that this might be a good trend. The trend is your friend until it's not. And then if that breaks, well, then we go back into the pattern and then we know. There's many different ways to look at this. One's at $1.99. Actually, both of these are right around the same spot. So the motion carries. We got evidence. See? Evidence is good. Now, I'm not like the Fed because I would say, well, we have to wait for further evidence. Well, you have evidence enough to direct you in the right direction. Right now, it's telling us there's opportunity. We're in the middle. And technically, if we're going to hold this and reverse back down, we've built a short path. Well, I mean, we talked about this yesterday. We'll see if it reverses and holds inside of this directive. We talked about how maybe that's just a little channel that ended up falling at the end to try to give it the ability to push out. But again, we don't know. I don't know. It's all speculation, conjecture, and whatever. But we're in that spot. We're in an interesting spot. It also sucks because we haven't come to $1.99, so you never know which way it's going to go. Tom, didn't you have a chart that showed that we could have a huge breakdown by the end of December? You think this is playing out like you said it would? If we have this is what I'm saying. If we have a big breakdown in December, we have to go retest that rising wedge. Because you usually go back up there. And the reason you would retest it is you get a lot of, let's just say you get a lot of positivity out of people when it goes back up there thinking that we've bottomed out. And then only then can you really, pull the rug. Right now, it would be artificial to pull the rug. There's so much, you're going to let so many people make so much money on shorts right now. I don't think that's the plan. I really don't. Now, could it go to $1.99? Sure. Or $1.97? Absolutely. And still do the same thing. But at some point, I believe that's what's probably going to happen. I don't know when. I don't know how. I don't know the setup. But I do know that that's likely going to occur before, this is all said and done. And that would play absolutely into it. But the 4-hourly, if it continues pushing down, it could show us the fact that we need to come down farther. Absolutely. It's just the hourly's getting a little oversold, pushing up. So it's possible that we're starting to try to break out of this. But we'll know a lot more in the next 40 minutes or so. If we're going to go down farther, if we're going to make a quick reversal. But remember, we were down at 89. This is the problem right now because we're trying to test these moves back up. Maybe it was coming to get a rejection here inside of the FEG. That could be possible at 92,459. But we did create a low, higher low, Now we need to see if we're going to create another one in here in the smaller time frames. This is a technical reversal, inverted hammer, it almost looks like, but it's impossible to say because we still have room to fill down. It's just, I know at some point we're going to come back up here in a very big way to retest that area. I just don't know when. You know, I wish I did. I wish I knew that right now, at this exact moment, it's going to go down there because this is where we could go to $1.99. And from a leverage perspective, if you were looking at it like that, I would say look for $1.99 if it's going to go back in that zone. You know, that would probably be the moment of opportunity. But other than that, it's hard to say, my friends. It's hard to say. All right. So what do you think? Tom, along with your belief XRP will hit sub $2 at some point. What level with it? Oh, it's not that I think it's going to hit $1.99. It's possible. I'm not saying it's going to hit there. It's a possibility if this breaks down from here. My question continues to be, though, is it going to actually do that before a breakdown? I mean, this looks like we're transcending ourselves towards that possibility that we go to $1.99 first, but I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that we're not going to go up first. We'll see, though, because we know the $1.99 projection target if it goes down. But in the back of my head, I'm still, Tom, you know that there's a rising wedge over the top, that Bitcoin is going to have to hard reject before we come down all the way to the bottom. So I don't think we're just coming to 59K with being unabated. So yeah, it's in the back of my head that this has to happen. Oh, hey, dude, I know. I've been talking about the big breakdown for a long time if it happens. I know which chart you're talking about, but we can't get there until we do this properly. Honestly. You're talking about the one where we could lose 9/10, but we're not to that point yet. You know, we got time before this all plays out, but the 9/10 chart is a scary one. Where's this at? That's this chart. But that's only if all of this falls out and these are double tops. And then it would end up playing out in sometime in December where this breaks down and then you lose the massive wedge support. And then it comes all the way down, possibly that 10.2 maybe. Maybe it's 54 cents as we've talked about. It could be one or the other. But yeah, that would be when everything loses 9/10. But you have to get to that point first. Bitcoin breaking down out of the rising wedge like 50 something thousand. I mean, that does, I don't know how far we would come down. I don't think that would be what would get us all the way down to there. But could that be the scenario where XRP gets back to 54? Possibly. And I don't know if this is the double top finish or not. That's what we're trying to pay attention to. Do I think the ISO 2? No. I do not think that's going to be what causes Bitcoin to drop because that's not the real implementation this year. Everybody keeps talking about it like it's the real thing, but it's December of 28 when it gets fully implemented. So until then, it's nonsense. Plus, every XRP holder that only thinks about the ISO implementation, XRP is not ISO compliant. I've been saying it since 2021. It's not actually compliant. Ripple is, RippleNet, the XRP ledger, but ISO compliant, XRP is not. It's centralized. It's not a decentralized. And ISO starts with decentralization. XRP is not decentralized. In fact, it's got centralized nodes. So the more you know. But XRP is meant to be like that because it can't just be ISO compliant because it's so much more. Because when you run the central bank's main feature of having collateral, let's just say, so that you are solvent, they have to meet different standards in different countries. There are third world countries in this equation. It's not just like the USA or Britain and some other countries or Japan and China. You're talking about some real low standard areas that are still run by central banks. So you have to have different kind of coding for those areas. It's just the way it is. The USA and going somewhere it's not apples to apples with some things. Um, I've been spicy, but I don't think it was as bad. I didn't overtly swear too much, except maybe at the very beginning. But so what am I looking for today? Now that we're on this side of town, and if a 212 is being resistance, now we can start finally looking at this $1.95, $1.97. Maybe it extends to that $1.77, $1.82. Because the 4 hourly tells us, yeah, you know what? We with the way it's going, we should come down. And I'm going to reevaluate Epic too to see if I can put it in with the copy trade, and then whoever's in there is in there. But I have to make a decision soon. I have to make a decision soon. Right now, it's just me, but there's a lot of things. But still, I'm watching the market to see if we get a sneaker reversal. I'm waiting to see exactly how I want to do this. Let's see. Gold is up 53, which that's a signal that people are finding the safe haven. They're going into risk off again. Even though gold and silver can be risk on and off, people are scared. So they're trying to find sound money. Dolly Varden's up 5.9%. Silver Corp's up 2.45. Hekla's up 2.9. Fortuna's up 3.4. First Majestic up 4.1. Pan America up 3.5. But again, if we're hitting resistance points here with these, this is what you would expect, unless we're going to go up to a new area, which that looks like an inverse head and shoulders on silver. And it held the perfect spot right here as it come back up over 50. And that was the back test area. Otherwise, it would have to come farther. But it created an immaculate inverse head and shoulders, unless this is a double top rejection where we're going right now. But this very well could push up to that 58 next, and that would be great for the miners. But this would mean that people are having a hard time going into risk assets still. So when we talked about how if this is a rising wedge, technically gold would do something like this. So maybe it is bouncing off and we're going to come up to like 4,400-ish. But this would be more of a rising wedge what I drew out. Yeah, it came outside of it a little bit, but when I drew it, we didn't have the evidence. It should be more like this, I understand. And then we're projecting because it hasn't come there yet. But I think that's probably what's going to happen. So there's still a little bit of meat on the bones. The problem is the monthly needs to correct. Weekly's coming down, but that monthly is overdrawn. Gold. The ironic thing is the DXY is almost back up to 100. So gold's going up while they're artificially rising the DXY. Silver, oil's finally doing that reversal. Finally, I knew it couldn't sustain forever. But then again, who knows? It's not a big reversal. I'm waiting for the reversal on black oil to come down here, as we've talked about. Maybe push this. I don't think it's going to come to 18 again. That might be dreaming. But it does tend to have overzealous sell-offs right before big pumps. Overzealous sell-offs before big pumps. Overzealous sell-offs before big pumps. Another overzealous one, either it's coming down to 44. I don't think it's going to, it probably won't come to 16. But I don't know. I've seen this before with oil right before breakouts. And I've watched this chart for a long time. So we need this to break. And once we get that big correction, like we want this to be more like a bearish setup. Like we want this to break down, and it's there. And if this breaks down, we should come back and retest somewhere. I don't know if it's going to get to 18. It very well could, but that's what I'm waiting for, because I've watched this in its entire history, and every time that it comes and has the catastrophic collapse, that's when you bank on it. Not in the consolidation. You always have a... Now we're waiting for the... Because if it comes to the bottom, then you would play it back up to $120 a barrel. 18 to 120 is a big play. But I don't know if it's coming down there. I just know patience is a virtue in this case. Let it happen is all I'm going to say. We let it happen. Just like, let's like XRP, what we just talked about. Let it happen. $1.99 or $1.95 to $1.97. It could extend to $1.77 to $1.82. If we start looking across the board, you know what I should have done? I didn't think about it because I was on a rant. I should have did the same thing with Linnea. I know I'm bouncing in and out of it, but last time we got an X amount more. But if I was smart, I would have did it at the start when we were up, but I was kind of in a moment. Um, and then we could have played it back down, which we still can, because it's more likely that we're going to extend back down because we just couldn't break over the top, just like with most things. I mean, I kind of like this cat and mouse game. Let's see. It's kind of like this. Which means if this keeps playing down, now that we hit another one on resistance, maybe we come back down to support here. That's because it feels like we're trying to create a bounce and create the panic to a level to where it's disbelief when it makes that next push to 100K. So maybe Linnea 954. You know what? I'm going to play it just like that. So if you're in the copy trade, you're not anymore. And again, you can keep trying to fix what I keep trying to explain to everybody so that you're not just on the outside looking in to where you can actually be part of it. Because I would prefer more of you to be part of it than not. But most people are just fall or subscribed and not actually following. I'm sorry, it cost us $40. My bad. But I don't know. I might be wrong. This is just my guts telling me that this is probably, you see a setup, follow the setup. So I'm going to follow the setup and we'll see what we do. I had just over 300,000 tokens. We'll see if it pays off or it's a severely, ridiculously stupid, idiotic decision. I think I just want to be, maybe I'm mischievous today. I don't know. But yeah, there we go. So I kept my stuff liquid on TOOBIT right now. That means Epic as well. So if we're looking at this, XRP $1.99-ish, $1.97, $1.95 if we push down there. This is where I'd be looking for if you're a short, like not to go short, but if you're looking for a reversal to happen, this would be a good time to take a shot, I think. Because then the 4-hourly is going to clear out very nicely. I think that's a good time to take a shot if we look across the board. Am I necessarily going to sell the rest of my stuff? I don't know. I can look because the buy-in, it's going to get close here for, yeah, oh yeah, this could be the opportunity. Got a little bit of a profit from down here, sell out, then try to rebuy at 10.98 when this breaks down. I could see that. I can see, you know what? Well, we might want to make sure that it breaks down first, but I could see that happening. Just have a plan is what I'm going to say. Have a plan. Because this is breaking down right now, it looks like, before that next push up. Unless we get an inflection of volume, but it does look like we're going to the downside first. It probably is going to that direction. I only say that because when we came back up, we got rejected here and pulled back through, which means most of these are probably coming to the lower support areas. Bitcoin, if this continues, because it's a beautiful rejection up here, if this continues, we'll just come down to the bottom at 88.5-ish. And if that breaks, maybe we go into and the best case scenario would be this breaks. And while everything's coming down, we test this CME Bitcoin futures gap that's down here at just under 86,000. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to go to 84.2, but test that zone and close that. Because right now, by going up there, we've created a little bit of an obstacle to come back down. So we'll see if it ends up playing out to the downside. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I do know that we have that 100K that we're still talking about. But I do realize, and I will say that Ethereum, and this is what gets me thinking that this is more likely to happen, hasn't even come down to that 28.41 at the support. And better yet, even if it breaks this, we could come down to structural area from a breakout that we've back tested it, but not a hard back test. So we could technically come all the way to 23.45 in a bad scenario. But this points to the directive that, you know what? Better deals to come, probably. It's dicey, though, because of the area we're in. So at any point, because of how oversold we are, we could reverse. That's the caveat here. So make an educated and informed decision. Educated and informed decision. You're welcome, hey dude hiker. No problem. Tom, you're on point and sharp today. Excellent, my friend. Oh, thank you. Thank you for that. Go to the gym, bro. And thanks for being in Tom's 3+ months with the XRP Meteor. You're wrong. The majority nodes are not Ripple. Yes, they have a say in it, but they don't rule what happened. I didn't say Ripple controls the nodes. I said they're centralized nodes. I never said Ripple owned them. So at that point, I am not wrong. You heard what you wanted to hear. The only thing I said about Ripple is that Ripple is ISO compliant as to our XRP is not. I said the nodes are centralized. I didn't say Ripple made them centralized. I just said the way the nodes are set up. But I don't disagree with you, Matt, honestly. But I just want to clarify. I didn't say that. I said a lot of things, but I didn't say that. Yeah, I mean, it's speaking to the fact that we still have more down. Even in the daily, it's reversing to a daily reversal. So, more pain to come. More than likely. As we continue to build that topside area. So, are we still... I bought already. I bought some XDC today, my friend Matthew. I did buy some XDC. Not because I don't think it can't go down. But it is winning Wednesdays. But I will be very clear. If XDC breaks down and we lose 4.67, or if we break down this pattern, that's when I would sell it again and go back into wait for the next breakdown at like 2.8 if that happens. So that's something I want everybody to realize with what I'm doing, because we are getting to that overbought area in the 4-hourly. The daily's in the middle, so it's technically probably going to break down more. Weekly's in a great spot. You know, monthly's pushing down, but we still got room to go if we break down. So I am not convinced 100% yet that I won't be able to sell out and rebuy back. But right now, is Q4 bullish? Run to $4. You mentioned still on the table. The run to $4 is always on the table, but I never said it was going to happen by the end of the year. I don't put timetables like that for a reason. So I know for a fact I didn't say it's going to happen at the end of the year. But yeah, we're going to go over $4 eventually. But I've said before, it could be all the way until Q2 and we're the most bullish in 26. This is eventually going to figure itself out. Remember, quantitative easing is bullish and not tightening for crypto. Rate cuts are bullish, but they put the false illusion that we could have a rate hike. I've stood here before and I'll say it again. We're not getting a rate hike. If we do, the government's gone bizarro land. But this is the fear that's going to pile up, and everybody who would be willing to buy everything else, by the time it gets to where it's going, and we're getting close. We're getting close. We still have a few things to shake out here in these time frames, like in the monthly, and some of these have gone out of whack again. So it's forced us into a little more pain because we took like I said yesterday, I was a little disappointed because they took that up directive and they were taking the route of let's liquidate as many as we can. I'm just sticking to my plan. Every time it breaks a key support structure, I'll sell it. And then I'll rebuy it back when it gets to the next level. That's all I can do. It's all you can do right now. If you're in the accumulation. Because then if you buy it and it goes down and it breaks that support, well, now I got to try it again 15% down. But I don't want to sit through it. Unless everybody has a different philosophy. Like, you got to make sure it hits that point of no return before you hit the point of no return. Like, if I'm a fan of Epic, what I'm looking for, if we break down, if we go the other way, it would be great. But if you're a fan, 47-cent area would probably be the next area if we do break down. Now, if we do have this sudden reversal, let's say the market does do what we were talking about, and it does have a crazy reversal first, and then it comes back down. Well, you know, that's up to you what you want to do. But from a support resistance kind of setup, you're looking for another retap on support now. So that's how a lot of these are. But then again, I mean, it's already come down so much. We're oversold in the weeklies. There's always going to be that chance that they can reverse this before it comes all the way down. Now, USDT dominance is a big deal. 2.42% up to over 6% now. That means more people are going into stable, and that's a bullish breakout. It looks like it's building on. So if this breaks out, more money's going into stable, which means we should expect more of a drop in crypto. Old Bessie, welcome in. Thanks for tuning in. Says, don't put words in Tom's mouth. I think it was just a misunderstanding. I do speak a lot. I say a lot of stuff, so I understand that. Would I like to see a majestic reversal right now? I kind of would. I kind of would. But would I also like to see them pull this down to the support structure so we can just clear this out the rest of the way? Kind of, actually, now that I think about it. I would like to see it come down here. You know how desperate people are going to be if we can get that fear and greed into the single digits? No, everybody's going to say this is all a pile of crap, and I'm not buying it. Why would I? So yeah, there's the greedy part of me that would like to see it go down into that area of despair. Because let's face it, we're not that far now from despair. We really aren't. Let's see what's going on in the 24-hour. 51.7 going short, 48.2% going long. Building a over the top, almost $3 billion more to the top side and the downside in the last 24 hours if they go up. But it's still building that setup. With Ethereum, there's about 1.3 billion more for them to liquidate shorts over long, as it's 50.8 to 49.14. And then for XRP, we've got almost 52% long, 48% short. A couple hundred million more to the top side, but not a major amount of money moving compared to the other two for XRP, which isn't a surprise. It doesn't pull in as much as Bitcoin and Ethereum, no matter what anybody says. It just doesn't. But that is that. And then with the liquidation map, I'm going to go to the monthly. I like the monthly the best. I think it gives you a nice understanding of what's starting to build over a 4-week period. And you can see we're coming through these liquidity zones and we're building. We're just building. And it's going to 100, so you got to account for everything right here on the way up. And there's well over $1 billion coming up to 100 right in the area. Within $1,000, you get a ton of liquidity. Now going below, it's harder to see. Like if we go into the weekly, we can see like a little bit of dispersion going on. And if we come down to that 88, 88.5, there is some down here. There's some bigger pockets up here, like I've been saying, but there is still some to come down and finish grabbing this if it wants to, down near that 88K level. But at some point, let's see what we have for XRP in the weekly. At some point, we're going to go get that top side. I guarantee it. We could come down, like, these lower zones very well could get tempted. I could see this. I could see it coming down there first. I mean, we were talking about the $1.99 for a reason. But it wipes it out. You can't really see it in that chart. You have to look at a higher chart to see it because there's not as much in the shorter term. But you can see a lot building up in the weekly over the top, that's for sure. This pocket up here is building ever so nicely. But yeah. That's where we're at right now. I think that's a good way to look at it. I just think that's a good way. You got to stay relative to what's going on in the pattern. And let's not force it. Like we said, don't force it. I'm not forcing it. I'm just going to let it come to where it needs to. If XRP comes to that $1.99 area and everything looks like it's shaking out the way it should, I think that's an opportunity, or $1.96 in real time. I think that's an area of opportunity. So yes, that would be the next spot I'm going to look at. Because now the 4-hourly is going to clear out. All this is going to clear out in such a favorable way. Like we said, if we do continue to come down, for Epic, it would be down to 47 cents approximately. For Linea, it would be down approximately to, and this is where I would target, 00954 on a hold. But if it doesn't hold and it breaks down, well, we're in a good spot waiting if it does the breakdown. Because then you might have to come all, and I don't want to be the bearer of bad news. But then you might have to reset all the way back down at 00597, which is not off the table. It could happen again if we keep breaking down. So I want everybody to be understanding of that. Oh yeah, SHX. I should be watching that. Band, I'm in and out of, but right now I'm not in. I wrote it a minute so Frankie Fresh would know that that I would be a part of it, but I gotta wait for the proper area. It's just not one that I ride when it's actually in the sell moment. But yeah, there's a lot of things that I watch. There's a lot of things that I watch, and there's a lot of ideas I have for this market. I'm actually less afraid of the market now than I was in 2021. Because in 2021, I thought it was I just thought it was so cut and dry. Like, you have to do this, or you have to do that, or you have to sit through that. It's actually not. It's actually not. It's a lot different. So, the only reason I wouldn't buy Band back necessarily, I wanted to show Frankie Fresh that there's nothing wrong with it. But it's because I would put all that money into SHX. I was just having a problem yesterday because there's a disparity. Because see how it's all back to normal now? On Kraken, I said don't buy it yesterday when it was at 9.3. There was a disparity. Everything else was at the 8.9, 8.6 level. And on Kraken, it was showing 9.3. Now it's actually back to where it should be. So I knew there was some debauchery going on yesterday. But yeah, SHX is very much high up on my list. There's no doubt about that. And that's the reason why, the whole Band thing, in the end, I would rather place it with SHX, that money, which in today's terms is like $4,000. And I would be more comfortable with it in SHX. That's the one reason. As everybody knows, I'm a big fan of Stronghold. Now, where can it go? Like, where can Band go now? Well, if we break down this pattern, it comes down to this uptrend at 34 cents like we talked about yesterday. And with the way it's set up right now, it could be going in that directive. We don't know. The market's starting to tease us in the bottoming. It tease us to the bottom side to where we can start going to these lower supports. SHX, when I sold it, it was over a penny. So just letting it play out now and going to where it needs to go. I have a pretty, like, with symmetry, I think we know where this is going because we did this. And yeah, it's hard to see sometimes, but if this is speaking the truth, I mean, it's getting there, 00792. We're not that far away, but that's like another 10% drop here. And it makes sense. The 4 hours got plenty of room to kick out. The daily's got plenty of room to kick out. Well, no, the daily's where it needs to be, actually. And this is on Kraken, so that's not the right chart. That's why I had the other one, because you need more evidence when you're looking at a longer, well, not Bitcoin. I mean, I have the Kraken one because it's on Kraken where I can buy it, but for the general sense, we need to have it where it's, I think I was using Bitmart maybe. Is that the best chart I can do? Or would like Gate have a better one? I can't remember. About the same. I'm just gonna get less volume on Gate. Oh yeah, this is the one I was using. Okay, so this is still very much trying to play out like this. It's just I had this set up in a different way. So 4758 after the breakdown, because I sold the breakdown at 105. And technically it was saying the first area was 0083. But if it broke that at 0047, I don't know if we're gonna go down 50% from here. Maybe it's just a 0083 or the 0079 like we've seen. That's interesting if we use both those charts. Interesting. Because if you take it into a similar, like just a short-term approach, it's showing 7.9, and that's in between this. Here, let me do this clone. It's in between the 008348 and the 0047. I think it's more likely it would hold that 0079 than coming all the way to 0047 personally. But I mean, it could correct down. I don't know if it would go that far, to be honest with you. The whole market is in a weird spot. It would do us a lot of good to fall here. I'm not trying to be that guy, but this would do us a lot of good. I don't want to be that guy, but I am. It would do us a lot of good. The opportunity to get rid of some of this was where I showed, and then to buy it back would be where I showed. So 1072 for IOTA is where I'm targeting. So yeah, a lot of cash on the sidelines. A lot more than I anticipated when the day started, but it showed a directive to me. So whether that's the right or wrong play, nobody knows. I don't know. These could be the wrong plays, but that's if we come down, that's where I'm targeting. And I can't be afraid of the moment. So I'm not. I'm gonna roll with the moment. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm starting to like that now though. Just even if you're wrong, having a plan, and if it doesn't pan out the way you want, live with it. I'm living with it now because I can see. It's almost like my eyes have been opened wide on this run. I don't know why. All of a sudden on this time, it's all so very clear now. We got to run with the momentum and we got to run against it. Yeah, ADA, if it goes down far enough, I definitely would. Hi, my name is Mike, and this is my first ride to the top with Tom. Mike, I'm so glad you were able to ride it when we made a ride. But now this is the time that gets very frustrating for some. This is where you have to be very on point with the market. If you want to do quick trades, so be it. This could be an inverse pattern too. So we have to wait to see if it breaks down, but this almost looks like a deceiver setup here. And then once we lose 12.1 cents, this could be a problem. XRP being down there at 209 is not good. It's showing us that we need to go down to that $1.97-ish area most likely. When we look at algo, because I know everybody's going to be looking for opportunity. Algo 152. Looks like we're reversing. The technical drop from here is at 13.9, so we'd be looking at 13.9 still. I don't know if it comes all the way to 10.6, but I can tell you we're pushing in a very interesting direction this morning. And again, when we have moments like this, you can look at things and be like, you know what? I was willing to ride that down, which means I actually like that. But that other token I might not like so much. So, but I'm just telling you, get ready here because this is setting up for another continuation down. And now it's that decision. I know we have winning Wednesdays, but for a few small cents, no, because I would think I would like to wait for this to break 4.9 before I made that decision because everything was bought so much cheaper. But then again, that could be a 7% down, 7% more, and then if it breaks down, you're in position. But now you're starting to play a dangerous game here. Daily. See, the daily's still moving down too. There's room here to come down. That's the problem. And these are reversal candles in the daily if this continues. These do look like reversals. I'm just saying, these look like we're about to have another crash here before we have that push back up to the rising wedge. So, you guys, I can't tell you what to do. I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm going to tell you right now, be very, very careful and have some liquidity on the sidelines. How about that? I'll leave it at that. Have liquidity on the sidelines. Don't be afraid, but also don't be so loyal to a market when it's not the time to be so loyal to the market. But we all have our own things we have to do. We all have our own narrative. We all have our own agenda. And nobody can do anything for anybody else. No, it's unfortunate skills. They don't share my live so much. So a lot of times people have to seek it out, which is not fun, but it is what it is. Like this to me looks like a bearish continuation for XDC. So there's a decision to be made for everybody. I very well Might just get rid of it. I'm at a small profit right now with my XDC from 4.8 or 4.9, and then the small amount I bought today is not going to change it, but I'm seeing something in the market where this is a reversal. So maybe it should prove it to me. Maybe I'll make it prove it to me. I'll either take a look to buy it back at 4.6 or when it breaks back over 5.23. I kind of want to make the market my bitch right now. These are the times when I feel like I can get in serious control. Like serious control. We're going to get control of the market. I don't know if this is going to play out like this, though, is the problem. I think today it might make us look good, but at some point, you know, we're going to have to buy back in a very serious way. But right now, it looks like we're taking the down directive. And I'm going to take the approach of I'm going to have a lot of cash. Right now, I'm up $610 on that XDC trade. So it's up 4.1%. I know it doesn't sound like a lot. Let's just out of curiosity, let's see what they would sell, what they would charge me. Because I'm trying to show what they would charge on Kraken. Let's do the math. Let's see. Calculator. So on 282,564. This is good for a test study too to see what it does. Ghost. I know, Kitty, relax. Oh, that went through? I didn't think it would go through. I put the limit right on the spot. I'll be damned. I can't believe that went through at that spot. Well, that wasn't supposed to happen. I thought it was going to reject it at first. Whoops. Okay, well, I guess it worked. I did not know it was going to go through. I put it right at the exact number it was at. So the fee was 610 XDC. And the sale price was... Let's see. I'm doing markets. I got to do market research for myself. I love high times of volatility to see this. This is the only way you can tell the truth in an exchange. 5031. So times 0.5031. No, 0.5. So there's your fee. $30 on 14,000. FYI. And that was on the sale where most of the fees are at. On the buy, it was like $1. So there's your honest review. In a high time of volatility, XDC on Kraken cost me $30 to sell $14,000 worth. And I was up 600 and something dollars. So that's what happened there. So at least I can be honest about what's going on there. Not saying that was the right decision, but I like to see I need to know how it works in high times. So I do things weird, especially when it's not at a big hold moment where the market could do either or. And I feel like we could get that continuation shakeout because I'm very clear to my audience. We're trying to find the right spot so that we can buy back and ride it to 100K. Right now it's showing us this may not necessarily, that got rejected here. So it's giving us a good indicator that in the next 3 and 4 hour candle, this could be a little bearish here. So either we're coming to 88 or we're coming down here. There is that CME. I don't think we're going to take out all the way to 72 first or 59, but never say never, right? You never know. We built a lot of room to come down here now in some of these time frames. That is for sure. Those are dangerous push-ups because now we got to catch back up to the other time frames. And then the monthly is going to catch up even more. We'll see what happens here. Even in the 20-day sense, we could come all the way to 88K, 88,280-ish to test that. But I don't know. We could, like I said, we could very easily have a reversal here, and then you're on the ball to have to buy, or you have to figure out a plan. Like I can't tell you what to do. I just want to see how this works on these exchanges too, on some of them. But I can see at some point here a big reversal is coming. A big reversal. So I'll keep being as transparent as I can. So right now, I guess the best thing to say is I have a lot of money on the sidelines. I'm looking to condense my portfolio even more. And when I do this time around, something's going to change. Oh, you sold it a week. Oh, okay. Okay. Right on. Um, it's not that I don't want to keep it on my chart, but it is getting in the I do like to stay in a direction of what I'm looking at. So SHX, if it does fall out, we're not saying that it's the worst case scenario, but let's just say it does. We're looking at about 0.789 on this chart. Now, it could stop a little bit higher, but we are below there. 0.083 is the next point. It's kind of like one of those things. We just kind of got to let this play out. Maybe it does give us a quick reversal, but I got to go, though. Why not buy more XLM at 70% from its all-time high? I don't look at it like that. I look at the right spot. I don't care if it's 70% from all-time highs. I want to see where the floor is at. I didn't say you can't buy more. Didn't I say we could have a quick reversal right now? I didn't say you can't buy. You can have any approach you want. Any approach you want. You can do whatever you want, honestly. You could buy all you want. 23.5 cents is where you'd like to see if it can hold because we've come way down here. And the fact we can get rid of this now. These micro movements, they're just getting in the way. But because we got a rejection here now, you can say, well, we tried at 25.1, failed. Now we got to see how we look at 23.5. And then if it holds that, yeah. But a lot of things are 90. You got a lot of things. Tom, you'll either be the GOAT or something else. I'll still be the GOAT even if it goes up because I know where to buy back. It would just look a little different on the things I own. That's all. It can't do anything here that changes what's going to happen in my future portfolio. The only thing it can do is expand my portfolio if it were to break down. But on a break up, I'm okay with because I have areas where I know to buy. So, and I share them every single day. But right now, it's under the parameters. That's all. It's a tiny bit under my parameters. And it's kind of showing the fact that, I mean, the total crypto market cap's falling faster than the other ones. And technically, the target right now for this, on the breakdown, which we already retested back up and fell horribly through, is 2.52 trillion. We've talked about this. I just moved it down a little bit from I think it's been 253 or 2 the whole time. And then for the total 3, which is everything besides Bitcoin and Ethereum, you know, we have to make the assumption it's 877, but if we don't hold that, then we come down to 844. And on the others, we can only look at our, this isn't right. It moved because of my phone. But we can only look at past history and say, well, if it comes all the way down like the other ones, maybe we're looking at 202 trillion. Right now we're at 226. So you look at a market-wide drop of the average altcoin of about 10.5%. That to me would be the right drop. I think that's the drop. Because we've already seen the consolidation now, but getting pushed back down, it's always been a little bit odd that XRP didn't come below $2 on that drop, and certain things didn't follow through. So it just seems like more of a trap game. Seems like more of a trap game. But I want to go help Julie, everybody. Thank you for the morning live. I appreciate all of you. If you're looking to trade, if you're looking at the future with Linnea and other things that we talked about with CopyTrade, I would encourage you to join it. Yeah, it seems bad when I sell out, but when we bought in last time, on average, we got about 12% more tokens. The next time, if it plays out, it would be another 10 to 15% more. If it goes up and we just have to watch it ride into the sunset, so be it. I'm okay with watching things succeed, even if I'm not in it. It's a growth thing. And then, and that's in the video description below under pinned comments of this very live. You can join there so you can be a part of it if and when we get to, you know, that area and that opportunity. If you want to trade IOTA, I do it when I am in IOTA and when I'm comfortable, and I like that the fees are very, very cheap. That's on WEEX. You can do spot or leverage. It's cheap both ways. And then BITUNIX, a lot of people forget about it, but it's still A1 to me. If you can use it, they have the lowest spot and leverage trading fees. You know, it's similar to TOOBIT, and they have XPR Proton. which I'm watching actively because that's where I buy it in spot. And like most, it never got back to the positive positioning, got rejected. So now we just have to look for that lower threshold, which in this case, it's either going to be, I mean, this could be a 10 to 15, 20% area drop. We'll talk about this later because it's fallen outside of that consolidation. But that's only if you look at it. Now, it could have created how this dropped here, drop. Now it might create something more. Maybe it isn't a more of a from here to here to here, which actually might make sense now that I look at it. From here, like this. Actually, that looks pretty good. Okay. I missed that. I wasn't looking at that before. I like that a lot better. That makes a lot more sense than my jank drawing. Because it fell out. It's like, where's it falling out to, though? We don't have that number except a very low number. But sometimes that low number is too low. So what would that line up with that 003 for Proton? Ooh, I like it even more now. Look at that. That lines up with back here. Oh, that's I like that. I like that. I'm going to look for that. In fact. 0031 area is what I'm going to look at for Proton and see how it reacts to that area. Might go lower, but that's what it's telling us right now. What did we say for Epic before I leave? 47 cents. We'll see how it reacts there. And then if it doesn't react good, well, it could be a little bit worse. The 47 cents would be a reaction area. What did we say for Algo? I just want to make sure before I leave that we can see the reaction areas. If we break down, obviously. If we break down, we're going to look at that 14 cent area, 13.9, and then all the way down to 10.6 if this doesn't pan out. But we'll relook at this if it does go in the down direction. IOTA, if it goes in the down direction, we have to break past about 12.1 cents, and then we'd be looking at 10.7. That's if we go in the down direction, remember. Don't just give up, because there is a very strong chance we can reverse here and go up and retest that rising wedge too. So don't think it's just bleak. And I don't know the moves I'm going to make throughout the day, so you'll never know until you know. So this will get fear level down. It will. If this drops from here, it will. If it drops from here, that'll happen. If not, it's going to cause a whole nother level of chaos. Like, I'm rooting for it to go down just so we don't have to cause the next level of panic. We want this to just finish as clean as possible. And right now, it's been anything but. It's been chopping a little bit. And that's causing more people to maybe get drawn in more than they might want to be. Or it could draw people out more. But anyhow, that's it for me. My ramblings are over. Hopefully, I see you guys tonight. It all depends on how my son is. I don't know how he's going to be after school for reasons that you guys know. So, be blessed. You know, be charitable, be giving, and thank you